Be cute. Remember, always, this is Winnie. This is Rennie's roadmap to success. Remember, anytime you give a treat, she should hear the command word immediately after. So that was just me treating her for, to look cute on command. All right, so this is her roadmap to success. Basically, she's kind of a sensitive dog. We might come back for separation anxiety and some other things. Sit. But she showed some signs of insecurity. Not egregious, but just there's some things that we did where she just really seemed to lose her confidence about doing things. Yes, you want to get down? It's like, I'm not sure what I want to do. It looks better if you stay in the shot, so I'm going to keep you here for a minute. All right, so basically the first thing we talked about is exercise. She's exercised well, and she's not a super duper high energy breed, but we talked about some creative ways of exercise. Chasing a laser, she seemed to be interested in. Guardians have mentioned she likes that. If your dog whimpers or whines or cries, that's probably not a healthy thing for them to do. Throwing the treats up and down the stairs. Remember, the first time do it with an empty stomach. They shouldn't exercise until it's been about 30 minutes after they've eaten. And basically, the first time with an empty stomach, you want to basically go to the stairs, throw a treat to the bottom of the stairs, come up with a command word that means go to the bottom of the stairs, like call it Turks. And then call her back to the top of the stairs, maybe call that one Caicos. And so up and down she goes until the first time with an empty stomach, she says, you're crazy. I've been down there 28 times. I'm not going down there anymore. Now we know what her maximum number is. Hey, buddy, I got a couple cats in the house too. And so we can exercise her. She'd probably only need about 1 to 2 minutes on the stairs, I think, and she'll probably be pretty good for exercise. But exercise should be done multiple times a day. So when she's being quote unquote naughty or rambunctious, you should interpret that as her way. Yeah, we have a lion cat. You should interpret that as her way of saying, I need some exercise, please. Either I can exercise myself or you can exercise me. Other things you can do is you can get that snuffle mat. To feed her meals out of the snuffle mat. Remember, Snuffleupagus, you can make those yourself if you're craftsy. I'm not craftsy, so you can get them on, I think you can get them on Etsy too, but what am I trying to say?
Amazon Chewy.
Thank you, Taylor. So Amazon and Chewy. So you feed her out of those. If you have questions about that, let me know. Wait until you get her eating on a regular basis, which we'll talk about here in a minute, before you get that. But sniffing is very stimulating for the dogs. If I don't see you before, have a safe trip. Enjoy Arizona. The youngest child is going to see whether or not she wants to go to school somewhere. All right, so let me see. Other things you could do is on a walk, letting her sniff on the walk. So remember, when you're walking, a lot of us, we think the locomotion, the movement is actually the exercise. For dogs, it's the sniffing. Now, we don't want her to sniff inappropriately. She likes to chase cars. It might be something else we come back to work on. But I think part of the reason she's so reactive and has all these issues is because she thinks she's in charge of the world, but nobody listens to her. And so that makes her even more exuberant about disagreeing and barking. I'm going to bite that car so it doesn't come down the street anymore because my humans don't know any better. I'm worried they're going to go in the street and get hit by a car. So she, I think, is overwhelmed with this burden of responsibility. And so a lot of what we talked about was how to shift that. But exercise is a really important one. So remember, before friends come over, exercising her first. She's also an excited urinator, so let's talk about that. So exercising her before the guests come over can really help. She just needs to have 10 minutes to recover after the exercise concludes before the stimulus happens. The person comes over, whatever it is. So when people come in the door, we should ignore her. Don't look at her. Don't even talk to her. Don't try to pet her. Now, what I did when I came to the door, and for guests, I would have you do the same thing that I just did. So basically, come to the door, knock on the door. You open the inside door, leave the outside door closed. And then just wait. She's kind of pacing. She was excited. When she got calmed down a little bit, I reached and I just jiggled the handle of the door. I didn't actually open it. And I did that, and I pulled as soon as she got excited, I pulled my hand back and went back to my waist, and I waited for her to calm down, and then I repeated it. So on and off again, and we did it until eventually, you got to crash, sit. Until eventually she kind of walked away from the door. When we finally came inside, she was kind of like, I'm over it. We wrote out that initial level of excitement. Remember, excited is not happy. Just because a dog's mouth is open and it looks to us like a smile is actually not happiness. Usually means I'm out of breath or I'm stressed. And so when you have guests come over, exercising her before the guests come over, give her that 10 minutes to recover. Then the guests come to the door, you open the inside door, and then you walk away. She's there waiting, but you're not coming in. They're not coming in. There's no excitement level. They tease a couple times. The sounds that are associated with coming in are no longer actually associated. And then eventually when I'm pretty mellow, that's when they come inside. When they come inside, she's going to be excited. Try to shimmy away from her if she jumps up on you, but just ignore her. And she'll kind of walk around you and sniff and do all that fun stuff. When she seems to have calmed down, start to reach for her. But if this is where the dog's head is, so I might reach this far and she starts wiggling, pull my arm back and I continue doing what I was doing. I don't say no. I'm through my actions saying that being excited causes me not to want to pet you or be interested in you. Yeah, buddy. And so you'll have a whole bunch of starting and stopping, starting and stopping, starting and stopping. This is just for you, so it's no big deal if he's yeah. So eventually you get to the point where you'll actually be able to touch her and she's going to stay calmer. Excited urination is really a lack of control, and so if we can teach our dogs not to be too stimulated or too excited when people come and go, that really goes a long ways towards doing it. Also, if you can, try to take her outside so she gets to evacuate her bladder. Less pressure in the bladder means it's going to be easier for her to get in and out. Okay, so, and then once you come inside and she seems calm, reach for her again, and she gets excited, pull back. So you're going to do a lot of this. Now, it's important you tell your guest this because as a guest, I have a social pressure. When I come into someone's house, as a guest, I feel like their dog needs to like me. And how do we think we make dogs like us? We pet them. Well, remember, anything your dog's doing when you pet is what you're reinforcing. So if she's fearful, you're going to make her more fearful. She's excited, which is very common, more excited, more nervous, anxious, whatever it is. If she is fearful, you can lay your hand on her. She does associate touch, dogs do, with affection. And she really seems to really like affection, which is why petting with a purpose can be so powerful for the guardians if they can achieve it. All right, so that's exercise, and that will help with the excited urination. And not only that, but at other times when she gets overexcited as well. Excitement level, I like to say dogs have 10 levels of energy. 0 is asleep, 10 is as crazy as you've seen her. Every time she passes level 5 energy, try to give her a timeout. Have her kind of sit somewhere, disengage with her. The idea is to help her practice. As soon as she gets past level 5, I stop playing with you. And if you're consistent at that point, eventually she learns I can go to 4.9. As soon as I go to level 5, they immediately get me out an adult swim. Because dogs, just like kids, don't know any better. That's why we have a break every hour at the pool so the kids can get that rest that they need, that they don't know they need. All right, we also talked about rules. Basically, I think a big part of her issue is she thinks she's in charge of the world, but her humans don't listen to her because we don't see her as an authority figure, and that stresses her out. And so when she's trying to protect us and we're not listening, she has to be more bombastic about her communication, trying to attack the car that drives by the street, which is one thing she does because she feels like she's responsible for the humans. The humans don't listen to her, so she has to make the car go away. All right, so basically one of the ways I flip the leader-follower dynamic is by introducing and enforcing rules consistently. Now remember, it takes 66 days to form a behavior pattern, so I tell people the rules should be in place for a minimum of 90 days, 3 months, minimum, or as long as the problem's still going on. But also remember that breaking a rule is a horrible, confusing way to reward a dog. If you want to reward her, pet her. She would love it. Give her a bully stick. Play fetch with her. Go for a walk. Do whatever you want. Don't invite her back on the couch if that's one of the rules, because that's going to be confusing for her. So the first rule I usually suggest is not allowing the dog on the furniture, because the higher they sit, the more rank or social status they have. So I would recommend not being allowed on the furniture. Now, if it's hard for you to police it, you can get these things called X mats, the letter X, M-A-T-S. They're little white plastic books. You open them up. There's little nubs on them. It doesn't feel good for the dog to lay on them. So you can put those on the cushions and up here and up there. That kind of holds the space, and that helps the dog not want to go up there because it's not comfortable. And then let's say it's been 6 months and we're not having any accidents, no separation, no problems. Well, then if I would like to invite her up, I'm inviting her not to reward her not as a reward, but just because I would like to share the couch with her. Now, she also may be developing some separation anxiety. So if she is always next to her humans, always touching them, that kind of promotes and enhances that insecurity. Instead, what we did is we showed her how to use the dog bed over here. So to do the dog bed, remember, you're going to take 10 treats, and you'll have to do the 10 treats thing maybe a couple days. So you show her you have a treat, throw it on the dog bed. Remember that the dog bed should be a light color, light white, light gray, or light cream, and no pattern on it. And I prefer one that doesn't have any crevices or button hooks or anything in it. So because we want to leave a treat, and the dog should be able to instantly see that from across the room and come and get it. So the first way I do it is I throw the treat, and then when she licks it up, we say the word thrown, which is a great name. Always come up with funny command words whenever possible. So then wait for her to vacate it, throw another one. Do that for 10 treats. The second thing you do is when she's not paying attention, leave a treat there. And don't point it out for her. Let her figure it out on her own. When she does, say the word thrown after it goes in her mouth. Remember, treat first, command word after. The third way to do it is I can lure her onto it, put her in a sit or a down, and then put the treat in her mouth and say the word thrown. These are 3 ways to entice her to want to go there. Well, then after a while, she's going to start checking this place out because every time I go there, I find $100 bills. Well, dog hunt, $100 bill is a treat. So after a while, she'll start hanging out there. When she goes there, now if we have a treat, we want to throw the treat. So every time I come there, hey buddy, are you thirsty too? Every time the dog goes there, it rains treats. And I hear the word thrown. After a while, it won't take long before you say thrown and she'll go over there. Now, if you want to set it up so that when she hears the security system to come over here and on the dog bed, let me know. We can set up a follow-up session and work on that specifically. All right, so other rules: not being allowed in the kitchen when we're preparing food, not being allowed around the dining room table when we're eating, no more giving her people food. If you do want to give her some people food, like eat steak and you want to give her to her, chop it up in little bits, put it in your microwave and leave it overnight and put it in a food dish the next meal. So it doesn't smell like the house smells. It doesn't smell like it came from your food. But dogs know they shouldn't be within 7 feet of anyone who has a high value item. She also may have a resource guarding issue. That's also something we can work on when we come back if she does have it. This might take care of it. Now for the resource guarding, a lot of dogs don't have a resource guarding. They just are growling when somebody comes nearby, which is a way of saying, I don't want you to be here. You should never punish or correct a dog for growling. There goes the other cat. Otherwise the dog's like, I'll just go straight to a bite. So a growl is the antithesis of aggression. Now, if she does have something in her mouth, we'd like to teach her dropping things. What we normally do is we pull it away from them. We teach the dog, I'm a thief. Don't leave your stuff around because I'll take it. The dog's like, well, I don't want to give it up then. So resource guarding is kind of a natural behavior because they do need to guard their resources out in the wild. They're not domesticated in the wild. So basically, when she has a low-value item, the rope or any of her toys, and she's got it in her mouth, quietly pull out a treat and hold it here in front of her nose. She'll try to take it with the object in her mouth. And don't say anything, wait. And as soon as she drops it, pop the treat in her mouth, say the word drop to qualify why I'm giving you the treat, and then don't show any interest in the item. We want to shape this behavior is what we call it with what we call low value items, her toys and things she's allowed to have at any point. Wood chips out in front, she really gets very aggressive if you try to take them from her. Well, we probably physically taken them away from her. If you do this right, you say drop and she spits anything out of her mouth because she's going to get something better. So that's what we're saying. Drop what you got, I'll give you something better, and you get your original stuff back. Now, if you do have to take the item away when she does drop it, what I usually do is I have 2 treats. Hold it up here, she drops it, I put the treat in her mouth, say the word drop, then I show her that I have a treat, and I drop it over here away from the object. When she gets up and goes and gets it, then I pick the object up and try to do it where so she can't see it. And then when she gets after she gets the second treat, I would pull out a bully stick or something of equal or greater value and give it to her if she saw it. So it becomes more of a trade situation. The drop is not something you practice a lot. It's just something you have to be observant. So is there a little drawer in this table? There's over there, right? So try to have a couple ramekins maybe in this little cupboard here. So having one of these little treat pouches makes it really easy as well. But that way you have a treat with you so you can pull it out quietly when she goes and grabs something. You just hold it over in front of her mouth. She drops, boom. Okay, the last rule is you have to sit, and for the kitchen, you remember I showed you how to do that. Same thing for the door over there. Also teach her an out command. So show her I have a treat. If I want her to say out means to leave this carpet, I show her I have the treat. I throw it out here. Bye-bye, nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
And I throw the treat out there. When she licks it up, I say the word out. So out means leave this area and get rewarded. And I would do it out here, out there, all different directions from the area. I would also do an out from your kitchen this way and that way. I would do an out for your dining room area this way and that way. I would do, nice meeting you. Have a safe trip.
Will do. Thanks.
And you can watch this later.
You can watch it later, he said.
And then also for your doorway, because she does like to charge the door. So go into that doorway when there's nobody at the door. Show her you have the treat. Roll it just about 2 feet into the area in front of the stairs. When she looks up, say the word out. So now we have a command word. Eventually we say out, and she knows what we mean. She might not necessarily be inclined to listen, but she does understand what we want. The last rule that I have is for the door. I go to the door and I say sit 1 time. I command the dog. I don't ask. And so don't say, can you sit? Sit. 1, 2, 3. The dog doesn't sit, but within 3 seconds, I walk away. I sit down in the immediate area, and I wait for 1 minute. So ask Siri for a 60-second timer. After 1 minute, go back to the door, command her again to sit. She doesn't sit this time, I'll walk away for 2 minutes. Next time, I'll walk away for 4 and 8 and so on. Make sure you're seated each time you walk away. So what you're saying is if you can't be bothered to sit, I can't be bothered to open the door. But boy, as soon as you sit down, man, that door opens like there's no tomorrow. So after a while, she'll go sit at the door as her way of saying, I like to go outside. Now, the video above will show you how you can teach her to ring the bells to go outside as well. Well, a lot of us teach our dog to jump at the door because they jump at the door, we go open the door. Usually our dogs are bigger than this, and we don't want the dog to damage the door. That trains the dog to do it. So instead, what we're saying is when you do what I want, you get rewarded, you get what you want. If you don't do it, nothing happens. I'm not going to punish or get mad because I don't want to go outside. But now we have leverage in the situation. Now, we also talked about creating a healthy leader-follower dynamic by rules and structure. By structure, this is the structure part of the rules and structure. So the structure part is to basically, when she comes up and she gets, basically, this dog, she is so cute. Winnie gets petted pretty much for no reason. Yawn. That could be passive training. We'll talk about that in a minute. So if she gets petted so much she didn't even have to ask for it, after a while, you consider that your divine right. You're here to pleasure me. And a lack of rules means that we are peers. So a lack of rules confuses her, and that's probably a contributing factor. But if the dog tells me what to do and I do it, then after a while the dog thinks I have dominion over David and I'm responsible for David. And so that can contribute to the frustration, the confusion, the stress that we talked about off camera. So what we want to do instead is I consider petting a dog our way of paying the dog. So yawn. So every time that she comes up and nudges you for attention, instead of petting her and giving her what she wants, let me move you over here a little bit, I'm going to tell her to sit. If she doesn't sit within 3 seconds, I'm going to show her I have other things to do. Playing hard to get works great for dogs. Dating, it also works great for dogs. I stepped on my punchline. So basically, if she does sit, pet her under her chin and say sit, and only the word sit. Dogs hear the first word we say most prominently. So that's great eye contact. You say eyes for passive training. You want to give me a kiss? You want to lick my beard? Okay. So basically, when she tells us what to do, leaders tell, followers ask. So she tells me what to do, nothing happens. But if I tell her what to do and she does it, she gets rewarded. So that motivates her to want to do those things. After a while, she'll come start sitting in front of you to prepay for the attention. So if she nudges you or jumps up on you, don't pet her because that's her telling you what to do. And if you want to pet her, still tell her to sit or lay down. Yawn. And so when she sits, pet her on her chin, say the word sit, and you pet her as much or as little as you want. At least once to an infinity number of pets. But if she doesn't, you got other things to do. After a while, she'll start thirsting for that affection that she's not getting as much as she used to. And now it's even more of a motivator to want to listen to you. So you're really not asking very much. Ask her to sit. If she's already sitting, ask her to sit over here or ask her to lay down. Don't ask her to shake. Okay, so I use the watchword paycheck if I suspect someone's petting without a purpose. So if someone comes in, I'm petting her and she's standing up. Even if I did it right and somebody says paycheck, I stop petting her. Tell her to sit. If she sits, I pet her on her chin, say sit. Say, actually, I asked her to sit. When you open the door, she stood up and I continued petting her. But thank you, because I do forget to pet without a purpose. So it's a gentle way of reminding. And I think in this house specifically is one of the guardians who's going to have difficulty not petting her for no reason. So we're going to have to get a little help. So use that watchword of paycheck. I'll pet you a little bit more, keep you here. And so after a while, like I said, she'll start prepaying for that attention. And even if you want to pet her, you're still going to tell her to sit or lay down. Now, passive training is what I was talking about earlier. Passive training is just waiting for the dog to organically offer you the behavior that you want. So every time she comes to you, pet her and say, come. Every time she goes to the dog bed, call it thrown. Remember, name all your individual dog beds something differently. Every time she eats her food, call it chow or lasagna, whatever the word is you want. Every time she drinks water, say agua or cocktails or happy hour, whatever your favorite wine is. Do you need to teach your dog to drink water command? Probably not. But what if you're on a trail sometime, or you're going to get on a flight and she's traveling, she doesn't have access to water? We need to be able to tell her to do that. So having the words, the vocabulary is much better than not needing it. So that's another watchword that I recommend, and I'll get back to passive training. So come up with a list of the official command words, and someone's saying a different version of the word. Instead of saying, if the word is come, and I say, come here, they say vocabulary, I say, oh, thank you, come. Just makes it easier for her to remember if she only has to listen for one word versus all the versions where if you speak English, they make the same thing, but to her means something different. So I also say repeat or rerun if we're repeating the command word multiple times. This is just to help each other out. I know, we're almost finished, I promise. And she did a little thing where she kind of scratched her nose. Every time she does that, maybe call it sneezies or cutesies, or come up with a word that means to put her, and eventually she'll do it on command. So for what we're doing is we're celebrating the things the dog like. Kisses. That's a perfect example right there. So I like her, I enjoy her kiss me, so I'm petting her. When she does it, I'm labeling it by saying the word kisses. If I say to my dog kisses, they'll come and lick me. If I say love, they lick me right here. So I made it even more specific. So what we're doing is celebrating things that she does. So when she comes to you and I don't see it, somebody should say celebrate to me. If somebody says celebrate, I look at the dog and I start petting her and I say whatever she's doing. So if she's standing, I pet her and say come. I assume she doesn't have a stand command. If she brings me a toy, name all of her individual toys. She stretches, whatever it is. So after a while, I ask a lot of my clients, what can your dog do to make you happy? And they struggle to tell me. Now she'll know because through our actions, that's the things that gets her attention. Sitting, coming, laying down, and that motivates her to want to do those things. So instead of barking, I'm going to come and sit at your feet. Well, now we've motivated the dog to do what we want them to do. You finally settle down, or I'm about ready to finish this. We use the escalating consequences. Remember, hiss, stand, march. If you forget what those are, message me. I don't show those typically in video. I want you to have to hire me for that sort of thing. And also some people use it out of context. Let me see. What else? Yes, you want to give me some kisses? Anything else I forgot?
I don't think so.
Okay. Now, if you do have any questions, please text me. I get so many telemarketing calls these days. If I don't recognize the number, I won't even look at it. It might take me a day or two. But text messages I see right away. So text me a picture of her and just say, I had a quick question. Winnie's doing this. How do I deal with that? I don't care if it's 7 years after I worked with you. The only reason I get mad at my clients is when the dog does stuff and they don't message me and I can't fix it. So I can fix it. I got videos I shot with other people and different stuff, so I can help with that. Now, if you want to work on the loose leash walking, that's a 4-week class. It's an hour a week, but the cool thing is we don't even use treats for that. And she'll learn just to walk next to you instead of pulling you all over the place. If you want to work on the doorbell and the separation anxiety, if those become more issues, let me know and we'll set something up. We'll just set up a 1-hour follow-up session. Well, this cutie patootie is Winnie. Yes, we're talking about you. Yeah. Can you look at the camera? Can you look at Taylor? There we go. This is Winnie's roadmap to success. Taylor knows all the tricks. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.